Okay, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone had a great Christmas, and we're all up and ready to go this morning. Hello, I was having some technical difficulties this morning, but now I'm good to go. So anyway, all right, as you know, we're scheduled to meet this morning. We're going to have more map deliberations. And as you know, the last meeting, the Office of Planning and Zoning, we voted to have them make some adjustments to 2 of the maps we were considering, as well as pulling in map 2 for our consideration at the meeting this morning for our discussions and to make decisions as to whether we're going to include these maps in a report to the council. So with that, I guess maybe we can take care of our administrative items first. And we have minutes from both our December 13th and our December 16th public meetings that we need to approve. So starting with December 13th, does anyone have any comments, changes regarding the minutes?
No.
Okay, seeing none, if I can get a motion to approve our minutes from December 13th.
So moved.
Right. Mr. Kaufman, if I get a second.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Fleckenstein, all in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
All right, the minutes are approved for the 13th. All right, December 16th, any changes, comments, adjustments? Okay, seeing none, could I get a motion to approve our minutes from the 16th?
So moved.
And Mr. Kaufman, a second.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Fleckenstein, all in favor, say aye or raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
All right, our minutes are approved. Okay, I guess with that, I know right before the holiday, Ms. Corby emailed us the iterations that we discussed and approved for our consideration at the December 16th meeting. So I'll just go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Burt. I guess, and Mr. Burt, if you could, I guess, walk us, well, we can ask questions as you go through each one, but if you can walk us through the changes to each of those iterations, and then we can have discussions on the maps. Move forward.
Good morning, everybody. It's Mark Burt from the Office of Planning and Zoning. Is it the best way to share my screen this morning, Madam Chair, and go through the web app like we've done in the past meetings?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
We'll do that this morning. Okay, so allow me to share my screen here. Okay, is everybody seeing the welcome screen to the web application?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We did reintroduce Redistricting Plan 2 last time. If you'd like me to go through this one again, we can. I think we want to focus on some of the changes between 4B and 4B and 4C and 6B and 6C. So we can do that first.
Okay.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. So on the screen now is a comparison map between Redistricting Plan 4B and Redistricting Plan 4C. Redistricting Plan 4C attempts to incorporate the Charter Revisions Commission's suggested changes from the Thursday, December 16th, 2021 meeting. The suggested changes were to return communities that were added to District 1 and change number 1 from Redistricting Plan B back to District 2. The second suggestion was to return communities that were added to District 2 and change number 8 from Redistricting Plan 4B back to District 1. And the third suggested change was to have the Odenton Town Center in one district and return portions of the Odenton Town Center and change number 9 from Redistricting Plan 4B to District 4 from District 2. In the web map here, we can see we tried to accommodate some of those changes. We'll address the first change here. The communities that were moved from District 2 to District 1 were brought back into District 2. And to balance out a little better, District 2 started moving to the north into northeast here, taking in some additional communities. To address the second suggested change, the communities in change 8 were returned to District 1. and to address having Odenton Town Center in one district. Change number 9 was back into district number 4. Are there any questions about these revisions? No. Okay. Okay, with that, we can get into the overview of Plan 4C. Redistricting Plan 4C is a revision of Plan 4B. This plan is based on the 2020 adjusted population with a 10% target deviation and an ideal population of 83,633. A balanced plan was achieved by redistributing census blocks between all districts, with each district within a 10% difference of the ideal population. In redistricting Plan 4C, no council members are drawn out of their current districts. We can take a look at the deviation from the target population in this table. We can see the target population here is 83,633. And with this range of population, I had the calculation here. Let me grab that calculation from the highest to the lowest. So we'd take that 3.63% and subtract it from negative 6.33, and we get a 9.96 deviation from that top percentage to that bottom percentage. So we're within that 10% deviation. We did take a look at the compactness test for these. I'm still learning about the compactness test and what they actually are gauging. We took a look at them for this. 5 tests were run. 6, including the polygon test. With each of these tests, other than the polygon, so for the REOC, the area, Hall, convex, the Goffman and Schwartzberg, and Pulsey Popper, it all looks at they all look at a circle and how that circle relates to the district. And in most of the tests, the range is a 0 to 1 range. The closer you are to 1, the more compact your district is. And then just some information about the map and how the map's interactive. So we can start taking a look at some of the changes. We'll start off with change area 1. This moves a portion of District 1 to District 4, right at the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, south of that. This is about 98.5 acres, and the total population for this area is around 546. Proposed change area 2 is to restructure, to fix the error in the census block drawing from 2010 to 2020. So these two areas, the line goes straight now and it doesn't dip into these two little areas. The same with change number 3. It's just a change to the census block. So the change to the councilmanic district, or the council district, needs to change also. Proposed change area 4, going from District 4 to District 1, is about 8.3 acres, and there is no population change here. Same with District 5, it's just to realign with the census tract boundaries. And change area 6 too, this jut down in just to make the district a little bit more compact. There's no population in this less than half-acre change. And change number 7, District 2 to District 4. This is almost a 9-acre change with a population of 19 in it. It moves a census block from District 2 to District 4. Proposed change area 8 is a change from District 1 to District 2. This is about 108.5 acre change, and the population for this change area is 2,507. It takes an area from 97 over to Route 10, bounded by Wellham in the north, and what's this street here? Dover Road northeast. If there are any questions, I can't see hands or anything, so just let me know if there are any questions moving forward. Change area 9 is District 2 to District 3. This is almost a 43 acre change with the population of 2,533. Change area 10 is moving a portion of District 3 to District 2. This area is bound by Jumpers Hole Road on the west and Route 10 in the east, Route 100 in the north, and the Magathy branch in the south. It's about 39 acres in area and 1,206 in population. Proposed change area 11 moves a portion of District 3 to District 5, so around 218 acres, and the proposed the population in this proposed change is 4,329. It's bound by Maryland 2 in the west, Magathy Bridge Road, and the Magathy River, Magathy branch. So change area 12 is a portion of District 4 to District 5. It's 718 acres in area, and the total population for this proposed change is right around 3,166. That takes a portion, the portion bordering Maryland 32 in the west, 97 in the east, and stream is this in the north here. The Severn Run stream in the north. Proposed change area 13 takes a portion of District 4 and moves it to District 6. This proposed change is 1,130 acres in area, and the population for this proposed change is 7,827. Takes a portion of District 4 from Route 3 east to I forget what river this. I'm sorry, I'm still learning the rivers. The Severn River
here. Mark Stephen Waddy, can you describe this area a little bit in terms of what your thoughts were that some of the towns are in this part of the county, and where the majority of the 7,827 people live?
So this change, this proposed change, if I read the description, starts at the intersection of the northbound lane of Maryland 3 Crane Highway and Churchview Road. It follows Churchview Road south to Cecil Avenue, and then following Cecil Avenue for approximately 1,300 feet to the Bacon Ridge stream. Follows that all the way down to this southern point here, and follows this. This is all a census block, one big census block right here, over to about Harold Harbor Road, where it follows Harold Harbor to the coastline and follows the coastline north to the Severn Run stream, and then MD3 south to the starting point. Most of the population in this change area lives along the coastline. We can take a look at these census blocks here. I do have them mapped out and saved out. So if you want those numbers, we can get those pretty easy. How many census blocks are in there in this change, and what the population is for each of those census blocks. I have that in tabular form, and it can be provided to you.
But
The communities from the general plan that are in this change are Crownsville and Millersville.
right, so Mr. Burt, so it's largely, it's the communities like Harold Harbor, Arden on the Severn,
Mhm.
and it kind of brings it up to where Indian Landing Road is, correct? But that's almost the dividing line.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
the little
takes it,
past there. Yeah.
takes it north of Indian Landing to Interstate 97.
Okay.
Any other questions about change number 13?
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm.
I just want to say I did see the same change in proposed in Plan 2. Very similar change that kept the communities together and put them from 4 to 6, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're correct in that one. This is a change that happened through almost every scenario that we ran. Just trying to bringing that population into District 6 to balance out the population of all districts.
Yeah, which in some ways I think makes sense, considering you have the coastline all along the Severn River there. There's like similarities within the communities, the types of issues that they deal with environmentally and otherwise.
Mm-hmm. In the bounding of 97 there in the northwest kind of cuts the community off right there.
But Mr. Fleckenstein, I see your hand is up.
Hi, yes, good morning, Tom Fleckenstein. Mark, I actually have a question about change 10. Do you want to, would you like to address that now, or would you want to wait and go back after you've done all of them?
And we can, I'll leave that up to Madam Chair.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Just a brief question. So I know with this map that District 3 essentially is about 2,500 or so, or 5,300. I'm sorry, my notes are wrong. About 2,500 below the target population. What was the rationale for putting this area here that says, you know, what you've moved from 3 to, I think it's 2, I guess, this area that says Woodholm,
Mm-hmm.
and that little bit east of Ritchie Highway there.
Mm-hmm. I was looking at more connectivity. Route 100 in the northeast of the northeastern boundary here.
Yep.
Cuts the communities off from going any further. And looking at this area right here, this is one census block, and then the other side, this is a commercial area,
right?
Bisected right there. So I was looking at the characteristic of everything along here, and the dividing of route of the highway moving east.
Okay. All right. That actually makes sense. That answers my question. I appreciate that, Mark. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions about the previous or change 13? Okay. And I do realize we got a couple to go through, so I will try to speed it up, Madam Chair. Moving on to change 14. This moves in the area of District 4 to District 7. It's about 1,130 acres. And the proposed change for this area is 7,000. Wait a minute. Okay, my apologies. There were some transcription errors. I'm going to have to refer back to some notes here. Let me. Looks like, yep. Sorry about that. The proposed changed area and proposed change population for District 14 or for change 14, District 4 to District 7 is wrong in the description on the web map. That'll be changed later on this afternoon. The correct information is in the pop-up. This change area is 116.34 acres and a population of 395. It takes up a portion of from Route 3 down to the Bacon Ridge branch, going down State and Stevens Church Road. Any questions about this change? Okay. Change area 15. You catch one area, you have to check everything now. My apologies. That is correct. The proposed change area is 328 acres, and the proposed population for this proposed change is 701. It takes a portion of District 6 and moves it to District 7. Change area 16 takes a portion of District 7 and moves it to District 4. This change is right around 83 acres in size and has a population of 4,403. This is bound by Route 3 in the northwest, John Hopkins Road, Rydell Road in the southeast, and Davidsonville Road in the southwest. And the last change area for Plan 4C is change number 17. It moves a portion of District 4 to District 7. This is almost a 74-acre change at 73.86 acres. The total population for this proposed change is 273. It takes a portion east of or west of MD3 to the Patuxent River. Those are all the changes for Plan 4C. Are there any questions about Plan 4C?
I just had a question about, this is Stephen White. I was wondering about the Severn community and the earlier changes from District 1 to District 4. And if you could just click on it real quick for me. And where's the majority of the population in this census district? I mean, in the census box here, that's what I was wondering. And if there were any commercial areas, okay, it's around 100. Because I was clicking on some of the census data, block data, and I was getting zeros, and it looked like it were neighborhoods there. That's why I was wondering. Okay. And so some of these are around the edge of neighborhoods. Okay, I got you. Great. And you wanted to bound it off with 295?
Yeah, that would be the western border would be to MD 295.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And for the in 4C, is there a like a philosophy around the Crofton area that was in terms of maintaining it, or in one district, or?
Yeah, there was. I would have liked to have taken. See, this is the issue with the Crofton area. This census tract here is split by this power line, and it would be nice to have it split as one, because it has, it has about 1,430 people in it, which is a lot, and that would allow for some of that population to be put a little bit north. It would also allow for more of Crofton to be brought into District 4. Looking at this area in the center here, if I could just switch to the Arc Pro, the ArcGIS product. Can everybody still see my screen? Is it showing the switched map?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for confirming that. So I took a look at this area itself, and of course the pop-up comes up on the screen that's not sharing. Yeah, the acreage of this area is 160 acres, and there's a little over 8,000 people just in this area right here. So to take that and to take that as part of Crofton, because the census blocks don't fit nice and neat in there. The whole Crofton boundary itself has about 20,000 people, 20 plus or minus. There's a lot. The population's pretty dense. So trying to find a way to take that population and add it to 4 and not let 4 dominate in population and skewing the whole scenario outside of the 10% deviation range, it is almost an impossible feat, other than taking a lot, taking District 7 clear up to almost past the dairy farm up into what we would consider the Odenton area, which would then really start to lose the characteristic of 4, and you would have to move it east into 6 to pull in some of that population also to balance everything out. I know that was kind of a long-winded explanation. A little bit of my thinking behind it there, and some of the woes of dealing with the census geographies.
Right. All right. And you definitely did this work. Your team, everyone did this work in great timing and allowed us the opportunity to look at this. So I really appreciate it. I just wanted to hear a little bit about the towns and some of the thoughts on where the population was going to be centered and what went into these, drawing the lines. I would like to see a little more about between 2 and 3, whether or not there was I didn't see a large change between 2 and 3 and 3 and 5 in terms of the populations on District 3, sorry. Right, I'm sorry, District 3 and District 2.
You had me confused too, Mr. Lottie.
I know, I
like,
apologize.
where are we going here?
I apologize. The change area and the districts. I was talking about the change areas. I mean the districts, not the change areas. I was talking about the districts.
Yep, I understand. Yep.
Right, because I just want to keep that in people's minds and make sure that people are paying attention of these in regards to the numbers. But you can go on. Appreciate it.
Okay, and Mr. Burke, before you do, I just wanted to share, I received a text message from Mr. Snow a couple of minutes ago, as he got called into work this morning and was not able to join us. I was going to let everyone know.
Okay, well, thank you for that information, Madam Chair. If it's okay with you, I'll move on to Plan 6.
Yes. Yep.
Or 6C. Okay. Okay, so on the screen now, we have the comparison map between Redistricting Plan 6B and 6C. Redistricting Plan 6C attempts to incorporate the Charter Revision Commission suggested changes from the Thursday night, December 16th, 2021 meeting. The suggested changes were an alternative map that reverses change number 11 from Redistricting Plan 6B by moving District 6 from the Broadneck Peninsula. The second suggestion was to balance out Districts 5, 6, and 7. And the third, if possible, move census blocks that make up the Crofton community to District 4. So you can see the purple line here is the previous plan for Plan 6B. We did move Odenton Town Center and whatnot back into one district and made sure that was all compact. Tried to take in some of the suggestions to move areas back into District 3 and to District 6. And unfortunately, with the current configuration, we're unable to take Crofton out of District 7 and place it into District 4. So the overview, Redistricting Plan 6 is a revision of Plan 6B, CRC submission balanced configuration. This plan is based on the 2020 adjusted population with a 10% target deviation and an ideal population of 83,633. Balanced plan was achieved by redistributing census blocks between all districts to bring the population of each district within a difference of 10% of the ideal population. Redistricting Plan 4, in Redistricting Plan 4C, the council member for District 1 is drawn out of their district. So we can take a look at the statistics for Redistricting Plan 4C, or I'm sorry, I misspoke there, 6C. And the total deviation is well within the 10% range, with the highest deviation from population in the positive of 1.08 and to the negative of 1.54. Compactness tests were run on each district, and most of the compactness tests fell pretty close to 1. Any questions about? I see some hands. Look back at the screen here.
Yeah, Mr. Burt. Mr. Telford's hand was first.
Larry Telford for, excuse me, Mr. Burt. Looking at Plan 6C and the percent deviation, is this the plan out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 we've reviewed today and over the past few weeks? Is this the one where the districts are most balanced in terms of population deviation? Do you know that information off the top of your head?
I would have to go back and look at some of the other plans that we've reviewed. We can compare it to Plan 4 right now, and Plan 2. From looking at this, it does look like it has the lowest deviation between districts and
Okay,
between
thank you.
plans.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kaufman.
Hello, I'm sorry, I'm in my car, and literally my daughter called me as the so I wanted to just we've heard this twice today, and maybe it's inconsequential to everyone else. I just want to state for the record, while it may be valuable information to know whether or not a council member is drawn out of their district in terms of whether or not they're going to vote or anticipate dialogue around the conversation, I want to make sure it's not perceived, at least for me, as any kind of driver whatsoever on the drawing of lines, because there are people who are running for election, some people aren't running for re-election, and at the end of the day, the drawing of lines is not something that the 7 individuals who currently occupy the seats and where they currently live is at all a driver for me personally in the discussion. So again, I just wanted to state that for the record. And again, I value that's being offered because we've suggested the likelihood of it being voted for before the deadline, but I just want to make sure that that's stated for the record for me.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I was still on mute. Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. Mr. Telford, for your questions. All right. Mr. Burt, do you have more you'd like to share with us on the maps?
We can run through the changes in Plan 6C, or we can just start taking questions about it. It's up to you, Madam Chair.
Okay. So let me. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm scrolling back up. It's hard for me to see if people have hands up with all your little icons on the far right side of my screen. All right, I guess, do any commission members have any further questions on the maps? Like any further clarifications on anything? Mr. Fleckenstein?
Just on 6C in general, of the ones that we've made changes to that we're looking at here at the end, it looks like to me, this one is kind of the one that's changed the most from when it was first proposed. Particularly in, if I'm looking at this right and have looked at it properly, any of the potential alteration of District 6 from, going essentially across the Severn River and picking up the large chunk of the Broadneck area that was initially proposed. That is now not part of this map, right? This is the final 6C, and all of that Broadneck area and whatnot has been put back into 5. Is that correct?
This is Mark Burt from the Planning and Zoning, and Mr. Fleckenstein, you're correct in that assessment of the map. If we go back to the planned version comparison tab here, we can see change 11 was the one that you're referencing.
I see. Okay.
Taking this portion of the Broadneck Peninsula and putting it back in District 5. We can go back to the overview here. Yeah, and so that did push District 6 far north, up to basically up to the Severn Run Natural Area.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I thought I saw another hand, but maybe I did not. Okay, great. All right, so I guess that brings us to, so now we have 3 maps. We have Redistricting Plan 2, which was the simple adjustment plan that Planning and Zone prepared for us early on. We have the iteration 4C, which is kind of an iteration of what the subcommittee pulled together for District Plan. Well, it was 4B, and then we had asked Planning and Zoning to make some tweaks on that. So we now have 4C as well as 6C, which is kind of a variation of what Mr. Snow brought forward. Further discussions took place to create a 6B, and now we're into 6C. So I guess at this point we have 3 maps out there for our consideration. And I guess I would like to know at this point, is there any other comments or questions, or people at this point feel comfortable recommending these maps for consideration by the council? And Mr. Kaufman, I see your hand.
Yeah, so obviously, I think we've all had a crash course in census maps and the squeezing of balloons as it relates to how a change in one area impacts another. Throughout the course of the process, I've made it clear that one of my I guess interests, or one of my hopes, was to try and identify how Crofton can be resolved in District 4. And as idealistic as I like to be sometimes in in how we approach government solutions and folks' input, the realities of all of the dominoes that impact that singular decision and how that permeates throughout all of the other districts was eye-opening for me. So I want to acknowledge for the record that when during the first meeting, when our planning and zoning folks very respectfully gave me the space to suggest that was just an easy fix, I just want to make sure that I state for the record, I appreciate you were able to hold back any snickers or thoughts of how crazy of an idea that is. But I will say this, I think that there are 3 very distinctly different purposed maps that we've got at this point. And one of the other realities of this process that's revealed is that our role here is to make recommendations and suggestions for consideration for the council members. And I think that the work that is reflected in each of these 3 maps represents 3 different philosophies. And I would suggest that, I think, what was it, 7 maps that went ahead 10 years ago? I think that's crazy. I think that I think that to reflect, many more than 3 maps, maybe a 4th one if there was one, but there's not. I think you start then getting into a point where there really isn't any dialogue or discussion that the council can have over what it is they're trying to achieve with this. So I'm comfortable with the 3 lanes that we're in right now with the maps, because I think that it represents 3 philosophical approaches, and none of them are going to get across the line without 5 people agreeing on it. So, again, I feel comfortable with what we have moving forward.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. Mr. Fleckenstein, your hand was up next.
It was, thank you, Tom Fleckenstein. Mr. Kaufman, I'm going to take a little bit of the heat off you for that as well, because I think that I've been disappointed, I guess is probably the wrong word, but I had a certain idea as to where and how we would be able to change these maps and look at different communities that I thought were broken up and not represented well. But I too, with what you'll call the domino effect, or I like the balloon squeeze analogy better. I've certainly changed my overall opinion and approach, given what seems to be the problem when you start moving around the borders. And it does seem like there's certain parts of the county that, based on the population and the geography and whatnot, become kind of those critical areas. And it just doesn't seem as though there's as much that we could do in some of those border areas. And Crofton is one of them. I think that area between 4 and 6 and 7, where I think that reality takes place. So I agree with you on that. I've been educated and unfortunately changed my overall thoughts on how we would do this from the beginning to where we are now. I also do agree that, and I think I said it at the last meeting, right? Despite the fact that we have felt rushed and we've done a lot of work over the last month and a half, 2 months, month and a half, however long it's been, that I still think even if we were to send over 3 maps, 4 maps, that we've still done the council a slightly better service than some 7 or 11 or however many it was in 2010, particularly given the timing, which certainly now at this point, I think to an extent is more out of our control timing wise than it was when we were having these discussions a couple of weeks ago. So I too am comfortable with the work we've done. I'm certainly more than pleased and more than comfortable with the information and the amount of time OPZ has put into this, and the education they've given us, the maps that they've given us, the responsiveness they've given us. I also feel pretty comfortable with where we are. And I think the quicker we get this over now to the council, the quicker they can start their process, the quicker and more time, albeit on a compressed schedule, as we understand they can, to get more public input on these maps and get this process done.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Fleckenstein. Mr. Telford.
I agree with what we've been talking about today so far. I think we should send 3 maps forward, not only to the council, but let's recall in our last Zoom public meeting, we did have the majority of people that thought this process was rushed. And I think not only are we providing the council with 3 maps, but we're also providing the public with 3 maps. And I would imagine as we get to the point where the real decision makers, the county council, starts looking at these maps, you're going to get, hopefully very good participation reviewing these maps. And I think if we give them 3, I think that'll be really a gold star on our record.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Telford. Okay, Mr. Waddy, see your hand. You're still on mute, Mr. Waddy.
Thank you. We're still getting used to Zoom. I just want to say I definitely agree with my fellow commissioners in regards to the amount of effort that we've put in and the time that we put in, especially during this time of we have an emergency with the virus that is raging right now, and my own family has been affected, and I did happen to go get some testing kits, and I was able to get some testing kits from the local library last Monday before school let out, and it kind of spoke to this discussion that we're having. How responsive is our local government to the needs of the community, especially during a time of an emergency. And, you know, whether or not we can, our elected officials and the communities that we come from are listened to. And I think that I've been reading over some of the previous Charter Revision Commission articles from the 70s in the Capitol. And, you know, there were communities that were not included in these discussions back in with the first Charter Revision Commission, and didn't have the opportunity to engage in, you know, thinking about or even offering their suggestions in regards to the lines, in regards to how communities are treated and affected in times of emergency, and, you know, just in general. And so I'm definitely glad to be a part of this and this moment. I do, you know, hope that we can take the comedy that's been developed here in regards to this very urgent situation around the maps, and you know, hopefully move forward. You know, not necessarily, we don't have to agree, but to have an idea that, you know, we can be cordial with each other when it comes down to getting the work done. And I think that you all have done great work, and I think that OPZ has done great work. I hope we can keep them involved and engaged despite their protests to the contrary, as we move forward to discuss the 15 or 20 issues that the council has pressed to us in their resolution. You know, we have to move forward to that resolution. And I think it's especially the discussion around emergencies. We're in the middle of an emergency from my perspective, and our council is divided. And we have to identify, you know, this is going to be a very crucial moment for us, especially on the 1-year anniversary of January 6th, that we think about, you know, what we're doing, who we're affecting, and what this moment is calling for in terms of the seriousness of what it is that we're doing. And so I like I said, 3 maps. I wish it were 2, you know, but I could definitely go with 3 if and be able to have that consideration, knowing that the council has seen 7 previously and still been able to make a decision.
Thank you, Mr. Waddy.
Thank you.
And I think planning and zoning has enjoyed their time with us, right? I mean, for the last 2 months. And also Ms. Fleur Klassmeyer. Really, we want to thank all of you for all of your help.
And Ms. Schuett, Ms. Schuett.
Yeah, Ms. Schuett. And we can't forget about Ms. Corby either. She was the one that got. But really, we would not be able to do our work and view this information if it wasn't for all of the hard work that you guys have been putting into this process. So we really appreciate it. And not to belabor some of the comments that have been made from fellow commission members, but I think I too, you know, early on, I think someone used the word floundered maybe, but, you know, I think obviously there's 7 of us. We have a lot of different views and opinions, but I feel really comfortable, and I'm really pleased that we've come together. I think we have done a lot of work in a short period of time, and I think they're really comfortable. And we have the 3 maps. I think they are a good representation of all the comments and that have been shared by all of the commission members, as well as some of the public comments. So I feel very comfortable sending these 3 maps to the council for their consideration. And that we also are meeting our deadline, which is great. So I guess with that, could I get a motion from one of the commission members to send simple map adjustment 2, 4C,
So moved.
and 4. Great, thank you.
Now, before we make that motion, can we just clarify whether or not the correction that OPZ indicated that needed to be made, was that on one of the official maps, or was that just on an overlay that wasn't, like, I want to make sure that we're not making a motion to advance something that's going to end up getting corrected, that's going to end up having to require us to get another motion to adjust, or does that make sense?
Yeah, you're talking about where Mr. Burt said that there would have to be a little bit of a change to 4C.
That I believe that is again, if it's in the official rendering of the map, kumbaya. But I just want to make sure that we're not procedurally voting to pass something that's going to end up requiring us to convene again to correct. So could Mr. Burt clarify that for us?
Yeah, this is Mark Burt from the Office of Planning and Zoning. The change that I was talking about was a copy and paste error that I made in the web map application. The wrong acreage and population got transcribed, which I will fix this afternoon. It does not affect any of the maps or anything like that. It was just the information displayed in text.
Okay,
Again, I apologize for the interruption. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't going across a line we were going to have to fix.
Mhm.
that was a great catch.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. That's great. Yes.
Madam Chair, may I just ask, can I ask a quick question, point of clarification, actually, if we can ask Ms. Klassmeyer or Ms. Schuett. Does it make sense to adopt the 3 maps via one motion, or do you want to should it be done via 3 separate motions?
I agree.
I guess my preference would be one if we could do it that way. I'm not sure if.
So legally and procedurally a reason we couldn't just have one motion?
I also think it represents the sentiment of the commission that we are seeking to advance 3 maps, that we're not seeking to advance each map individually. I believe that whether it's symbolic or not, if we're allowed to, I would request that we are able to advance 3 together.
And Ms. Schuett, I see your hand is up in the bottom.
Yes, this is kind of along the lines of what Ms. Corby was asking. Will your vote reflect that you are recommending all 3 maps without putting them into any kind of priority? They're all equal from the point of view of the commission?
Yes, I mean, that's what our vote would be signifying. Yes, and that we have 3 maps. We are giving them to the council for their consideration. I mean, I would guess if somebody does not want to vote for including one of those maps, someone could always request to pull that map out and we can vote on that separately. But it's appearing that all 5 of us at this point are in support of sending the 3 maps onto the council based on the comments. So Ms. Stewart, are you saying we need to have a priority?
No, I'm saying we just need to have it be clear for the county council that you're recommending all 3 together without prioritizing one over the other.
Okay. All right. So I guess we can then slightly change the motion. We haven't voted on that yet. So then can I get a motion from a commission member that the commission proposed the 3 maps to the council with no priority, simple adjustment 2, map 4C and map 6C. And I know Mr. Telford, he
So moved.
He said so moved before. Okay, thank you. Mr.
Second.
Telford. Second by Mr. Fleckenstein. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Raise your hand.
Mr. Kaufman.
Aye.
okay.
Aye.
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 All right. That was 5, correct?
Okay.
I'm just confirming 5, correct? Okay. Got it. All
I
right, thank
didn't
you.
hear any nays.
Give an aye. I'll give an aye.
Do we need aye? Okay. That was. So should I call out by individual names? You can go back and say aye.
Mhm.
Comfortable. All right. All right, let me do that. So Mr. Telford,
Aye.
Mr. Waddy,
Aye.
Mr. Kaufman,
Aye.
Mr. Fleckenstein,
Aye.
and I guess Madam Chair, aye. Okay, motion carries 5-0. Great, thank you, everyone. Excellent. All right, I guess that then takes us to other business on our agenda. And I guess one thing I guess I should mention, I guess I should have mentioned this in the very beginning as well, just for an update for all the commission members. As you know, there was a resolution that the council was considering That was on the council agenda for their meeting the evening of December 20th. I was there to present to them, really just talking more factually where we were, kind of our process, how we pulled things together, and that we did have planning and zoning looking at 3 maps, and we would be having this discussion this morning. And Mr. Wadi was also there to lend his support to the process. The council did vote down the resolution 4-3. And Mr. Kaufman, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, can we go over the timeline now with regards to not the charter amendments phase of our work, but so today we've passed 3 maps on to the county council, but that doesn't necessarily represent the report. It doesn't represent like all of the information that goes forward to get to where we need. What is it that is the base minimum that is going to allow the county council to introduce their resolution to approve a map? Where are we and what are our responsibilities in that part of the process? Or I just want to, for clarity's sake.
Yes, Ms. Blair Klassmeyer, do you want to respond to that question?
Sure. I anticipate now what I'll do is take this recommendation and do prepare a draft interim report that can then be distributed to the members and everybody can take a look at it. At this point, it'll be pretty bare bones. It'll basically be maps 2, 4C, and 6C, and this is the recommendation. Fill in some of the blanks as far as when you met, when you discussed that it was those maps, it was just, the decision was to send those maps forward without prioritization. And then that interim report would be passed on to the council. And so that interim report becomes my priority to get that done. So you timing wise, get that to them ASAP.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you. And I guess, and then Ms. Blair Klassmeyer, it's a question of, I know they have a meeting, it's January 5th. The council has a meeting in the 18th. The 3rd, okay.
The 3rd is there. The 3rd and the, yeah, the 3rd and the 18th are their next 2 meetings. And it would be too late to do anything for the 3rd. I think what we would be shooting for is to have it to them prior to the 18th. They actually have a work session on the 11th, correct, Laura? So really probably try to get it to them before the 11th. So that's the place where they would discuss this kind of thing normally, is at a work session. So that would be the goal, to get it to them before the 11th.
Okay, great. That makes sense. Awesome. Okay, as far as an other business, I know Ms. Corby asked us to bring our calendars because obviously we need to get some meetings on our calendars for the next part of our discussion. And I guess I was going to throw out, I know Mondays, well, also with the General Assembly session starting, my schedule gets really chaotic. However, Monday evenings is something that I know I can commit to. I know we've had some Monday evening meetings. I'm not sure hopefully everyone will feel comfortable. We can continue on that schedule and maybe alternate with when the council meets. Is that possible, Ms. Corby? Okay.
Yeah, I think that actually is a great idea. You can sort of fill in the blanks. The council meets the 1st and 3rd Monday of every month. So that leaves 2nd, 4th, and if there's a 5 Monday month, the 5th Monday as well.
Okay. I guess, do members feel comfortable planning to meet every other Monday for right now? I know we have a lot of items for our consideration, and technically we're supposed to have our work done by the end of March. That
Yeah, I mean,
seem
I
reasonable
think that
for
makes
everyone?
sense.
Or can,
This is Larry Telford. I think that
we
makes
plan to
sense.
do that.
Yep, this is
Okay,
David
great.
Kaufman.
Thank you. And
I was
know
looking
it-
Sorry, I was looking at my calendar just to confirm, and I think that's probably the best day of the week for me too.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
great.
that'll work for me. The issue we will run into, I'm sure, and I don't want to speak for him, but to the extent that Tori has indicated that the evenings can be problematic, I think he's requested that if we do the evenings, we start at 7:15. So I just think with that accommodation or that understanding for Mr. Snow, I think the Monday evening sounds like it makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I wanted to bring that up too. I know he asked if we
Okay.
started at 7:15, which I think is fine. Yep. Okay. So then that means our next meeting will be, I guess, January 10th.
Larry Telford for Ms. Manfield. Are we meeting in person from now on for these kinds of meetings as usual?
Oh, good question. I guess, have there been any further updates or statements about with COVID and things going back virtual fully, or has that not been decided yet?
It hasn't been decided. What I suggest we do is just set them up for these dates. I will reserve the chambers, but then we can make sort of moment to moment decisions, and I can help you all with that. As to whether you want to meet in person in the chambers or whether you want to do it virtually, depending on what's going on in the world. But possibly leaving that part of things open. Does that make sense?
I think that's fine for now. Yeah.
At least I can have the space reserved for you
Okay.
and get everything set up for that.
Okay. Mr. Fleckenstein?
I guess my question would be, Laura, how quickly, let's say we have a meeting in person scheduled, and actually what you say now sort of answers my question. It makes sense to make sure we get the space. But if on the fly, all of a sudden one of us has a close contact or one of us tests positive or whatever it is, how quickly could we move a meeting to remote from in person?
Because your meetings do not all involve public participation, we just need to offer the opportunity for the public to watch unless you are calling a public hearing. But for the most part, it would be pretty easy to do. We need to give notice, reasonable notice, as I'm certain the law office will chime in here. And that can be accomplished, through sending out some messages to media contacts, posting it on the website, you guys helping get the word out. However, you may be able to do that, but it's just a matter of me setting up the virtual meeting and sort of changing some messages. I probably need a couple of days lead time to get it all accomplished, including the notice part. And Ms. Klassmeyer will certainly confirm or deny what I have said.
All right. It seems to me that this is certainly going to continue to be kind of a dynamic issue. I mean, things are now changing very quickly. For instance, I know this doesn't impact most of you, but the Court of Appeals just issued a new order that's essentially reverting court operations to a restrictive stage that we had sort of during the middle of the initial pandemic during 2020. And that's, my guess is county governments are going to start doing similar things, and we're going to need to probably adjust on the fly for at least the next month and a half, 2 months.
Agree completely. I can certainly help support that. I think, again, I will make sure the law office is okay with any notice that's being given to make sure that base is covered. But otherwise, I can certainly support whatever it is that you all need to do to make sure that everybody stays safe.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
And then I think the every other Monday, assume they'll be in person, start them at 7:15. That works for me.
So the big thing is that I would like to put something on, we have a schedule on the website to let the public know generally when you're going to meet. So I will schedule those Mondays starting January 10th, starting at 7:15. Do you want me to fill in the schedule through March? I mean, again, we can cancel a meeting, we can change it a bit in terms of location with notice, but I could go ahead and carve that into the schedule. Does that sound good? Okay.
Yeah, please do that. Yep, no, thank you. Okay, Ms. Schuett, I see your hand down there.
Yeah, in addition to what the Court of Appeals just did, if you read this morning's paper yet, it says that Luminous Health has said that their increase in hospitalizations due to COVID has increased by 325% in 1 month. Just pointing that out.
Yeah, they've gone to what they call their emergency operations. BWMC has done the same thing. I guess they instituted what they call a contingency plan. that they've got within their procedures. It's all moving obviously in that direction very, very, very quickly. I'm sure we'll hear a bunch more even today.
So on that note, Madam Chair and Commission members, would you like to just commit to doing January 10th virtually? I mean, it is right around the corner with the holiday and everything. It might be the most fair approach. And then at that meeting, we can discuss how the next meeting will happen.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah,
And-
I'm gonna
and
do that.
Laura, I think my suggestion would be for your general scheduling to put a statement that says, check back frequently to determine if meetings are going to be live or virtual. I think, that'll help with any open meetings issues or whatever.
Okay, thank you everyone for your feedback.
Okay, Mr. Kaufman?
Yeah, so not to belabor a point here, but I know that it was mentioned earlier, the appreciation we've got for our staff. This last conversation helps illustrate it, I think, even more. I know how much pride our staff takes in doing excellent work and being supportive and being everything that we need them to be on top of everything that everyone else needs them to be. And I just want to make sure that I'm acknowledging that effort and appreciate their work on our behalf.
Great, thank you, Mr. Kaufman.
And
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I just want to point out that starting January 10th, you will be hearing from other people in the county as you dig into the charter. So the OPZ, the wonderful OPZ team that you've had for 2 months, the next meeting will look a little bit different. You guys may or may not be there, but you'll primarily be hearing from people who will be addressing possible charter issues for you.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and Ms. Corby, before that meeting on the 10th, we can put our heads together a little bit as far as a plan, what we're going to discuss when, and kind of lay some things out so we kind of have a plan going forward to accomplish our work. So be on the lookout for
Absolutely.
something like that in the next week or so. We'll get that out
Absolutely.
there to
If I
everybody.
can give you all some holiday homework too, in that shared Google Drive, there is a folder that is more geared towards the charter work that you will be doing. There is some information in there that has been in there, the report and minutes from 2011, 2012. If you have a chance to review those, that's a very good sort of foundational background bit there that will help you gear up for this portion of your work. Some other sort of primer type materials, and I'll work with Ms. Blair Klassmeyer so that your first and second meetings present more of the primer for the next portion of your work.
Okay, great. That sounds good. Okay, all right. We have our map recommendations done and addressed. We have our these meeting dates going forward in a general plan, and we'll see some follow-ups on that in the next week or so. As I said, I guess any other items for other business? All right, I guess seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Okay, in unison. Mr. Fleckenstein with Mr. Kaufman, second. Okay, great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand.
Aye.
Great.
Have a safe
Right.
and
Thanks,
happy new year,
everyone.
everyone.
Yep. Yeah, happy new year. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thanks.